People familiar with my channel and with my opinions on RWBY can probably already guess all 10 of the scenes from Volume 4 that I absolutely loathe. Volume 4 might have been the best volume, but when it was bad, it was really bad. And I'd rather not dwell on this for too long, so here are 10 terrible scenes from RWBY Volume 4. Once again, I'm only picking one per episode, which actually works anyway because I don't think any of these episodes have more than one outright bad scene. First up is Oscar's introduction. It does nothing, it says nothing, it's a waste of time and resources, it should have been left on the cutting room floor, and all the theories surrounding the scene when it first premiered were even more annoying than the plotline it introduced. The next scene is in the third episode, and it's the whole bit with Blake at the beginning. Now, I can't speak for the rest of the series because the Grimm are non-present in Volume 4, so maybe they retconned it to where negative emotions no longer attract Grimm, but I can't be the only one who noticed that Blake was extremely paranoid, extremely dumb, and I've harped on the scene in at least 2 other videos. I do want to reiterate that if she was going to take off the bow while on the ship, why did she toss it overboard after having been on the ship for a while? Did she plan on never leaving Menagerie? If she thought she'd never see it again, why not take it off as soon as she is on the boat? Next we have Oscar's scene from episode 4. This is actually the best scene on this list and the best scene involving Oscar in the entire series, but it's still among the worst scenes in the volume. Oscar is a superfluous meat sack that only exists to get Osmond back in the story. But given his scenes in Volume 4, would it have been any more jarring for him to just show up in the post-credits scene? I don't think so. I also don't think Oscar needed to exist at all. I do think Osmond is important enough for the story going forward, but have him go into Crow or Jean, make them more relevant and streamline the roster. Because of all this, Oscar is basically beyond salvaging. We have no reason to care about him outside of him being Osmond's flesh suit. The fourth scene brings us back to Blake. So let me get this straight. Blake runs away from Vale because her past caught up to her. She wants to hide from the White Fang and rebuild her relationship with her parents. She is, for whatever reason, surprised that the White Fang even have a presence in Menagerie. They visit her home for a scheduled meeting with her dad, the chieftain of Menagerie, and her first impulse is to run towards the door and let the entire organization know exactly where she's hiding. Oh, but it gets better. Her, Adam, and Ilya used to be close and used to work alongside Gira and Sienna Khan. They know where her parents live, and if they wanted to look for her, that would literally be the second place they look. And this is the character the writers called the most mature member of Team RWBY. The fifth scene gets back to Oscar. Miles and Carrie don't know what reincarnate means. Possessing someone who supposedly had their own life and infecting their mind isn't reincarnating. Oh, and this whole scene is what sets up the moment that made Oscar a complete waste of space. Nothing else inherently wrong with it, though. The sixth scene, and you all knew this was coming, the much-needed exposition dump. It's long, plotting, feels as dumb and pointless as a World of Remnant episode, and spends something like 15 minutes talking about all this lore that contradicts other pieces of lore and doesn't even answer RWBY's question. Why are they after RWBY? They're after the maidens. Is RWBY a maiden? No, but they're after the relics. Is RWBY a relic? No. The relics are basically the Triforce, but there's 4 of them in vaults under the schools that can only be opened by the maidens. The schools were meant to defend the relics, which is really hard to do when all the students don't know they're supposed to be defending something and run away instead. The seventh bad scene is the rooftop fight from episode 9. I've said it once and I'll say it again. This might be the single dumbest scene in the entire series. Yes, dumber than anything in Volume 5. Maybe. So, building off the previous Blake scene where she revealed herself for no reason, she is then shocked that someone would come for her. She doesn't listen to Sun, she slaps him, throws a scroll, and just so happens to hit Ilya. She sees her hiding in a tree. By the way, checkmate everyone who said Blake couldn't see Ilya in Volume 5 because she was blending into the shadows. She then chases her, which leads to this fight. Ilya creates a smokescreen, but then stands there like a moron. Blake doesn't recognize her despite looking 200% identical to every other appearance she's had in flashbacks. Ilya's scroll manifests in her hand in between cuts. Sun magically knows it's important. Ilya escapes because Sun's aura stopped being a thing, and this entire sequence is the inciting incident for everything Blake does in Volume 5. The 8th scene is the one that irreparably broke Oscar. It's actually funny that all the best episodes in this volume just so happen to have Oscar in them. The Next Step, which had the villains, Family with all that Yang goodness, Punished with the Crow and Tyrion fight and the Weiss slap, and Kurogiri, the episode with the Renora flashback. It's like they knew Oscar was awful and wanted to put him in good episodes to fool people into liking him. Well, it failed, and this scene is the worst. They set up a cliche, though decent narrative throughline and then skip everything important. Why is he doing this? How did Osmond convince him? The world may never know. The ninth scene is Weiss's escape, which people like for some reason, so I'm going to reiterate the play-by-play. Weiss doesn't use the broken window from her previous scene. She doesn't do anything awesome to escape. Instead, she sneaks out and meets up with Klein. They go through some halls and a stairway. Klein gets called by Whitley and backtracks. Weiss then, instead of using any other pathway, tries sneaking right past her father's office, where he's arguing with Ironwood. She overhears them talking about Winter. She then, instead of sneaking, puts a glyph on the door revealing what she's doing. She then makes it to the library or whatever, and Klein is already waiting for her because Weiss couldn't go the same way he did because she needed to overhear that conversation, I guess? But then Klein asks her if she's sure Mistral is safe. Seriously, the fuck? She already knew she was going to Mistral to meet up with Winter, so then why was that scene with Ironwood and Jacques even there? And I can't believe that I'm the only one who caught that. The final bad scene is the final scene in the volume. Ruby's monologue is just vacuous, empty, pointless, and way too long. It's all platitudes that she didn't really earn. I like this in concept, but it's just too drawn out. There were several times watching this where I'd zone out for a minute, come back and she'd still be freaking talking. Kinda like this video. Mediocrity 4, thanks for watching.